this is Kristen with Get Your Geek On, and I'm here with the Gamers. And tell us about how the Gamers came to be.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us here. You guys have been great, and it's been so nice meeting you and your whole staff. So we have been in the toy development and creation stage for the past 2 years, working for Alcon, who was one of the visionaries that started Pokemon and Cabbage Patch. So we've been looking for a disruptive technology to be used in esports toys for kids. So that's kind of where we've been the past 2 years. And while we've been working in that space, we kept noticing that there wasn't a lot of women in leadership roles and having their voices heard. So in September, we actually were at a conference at Goldman Sachs, and my business partner and I looked at each other, and there was hundreds of men in the audience, and we were one of the only 2 women. And the panelists were mostly men. So we looked at each other and we thought, this feels wrong. And this wonderful, fabulous man who was a speaker and a panelist named Niles Heron, who's the co-founder of Pop Dog, he came on stage, and before he started his talk, he kind of looked out at the audience and he said, hey, we can do better than this. We need to do better than this. This will help our whole community to have more women be able to have their voices heard and in leadership positions. So my business partner and I looked at each other and we said, let's do this. So that's kind of how it all started.
That's so awesome. And since then, how long has it been since the Gamers have been going on?
So we had the idea in September. That's when the Goldman Sachs conference was. And then we're officially launching in March of this year.
Oh, wow. Okay. And since then, and since you've started building your community, have you seen any growth just from the idea itself, like just beginning?
It's such a great question. We have been blown away and thrilled and humbled by the response we've had from the female gamers out there, and also the men. We call them upstanders, and the men that have kind of raised their hand and said, like, this needs to be talked about and how can we help has been great too. The reception we've had here has been amazing.
So the men being very accepting of it, has there been anything that really has been outstanding that anybody has shown as far as acceptance has gone, like from a certain individual or anything like that?
I would circle back to Niles Heron. I after that conference, I didn't have his contact information, but I emailed his info desk and said, hey, what you said resonated with me, and we think there's something here. Would you be willing to speak with us? And my husband was like, babe, you emailed his help desk. Like, you may not hear back from him. But he emailed us back the next day and got on a call with us 3 days later and dedicated over an hour of his time kind of talking us through it, introducing us to people, helping us flush it out. And it kind of just spiraled from there.
That's so awesome. And then you had told me earlier something about Mommy Bites. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So kind of our wheelhouse, our team at Gamers, is community building. It's what we love. It's what feels right and natural to us. We started in 2006 a community for moms that started completely grassroots. We had no funding. We had no advertising. We were teachers by trade. We had no business background. And it started by handing out postcards on the streets of Manhattan as an educational community for moms. And it grew completely word of mouth. We ended up having great media coverage. We were on the Today Show, we were on CNN, we were featured in the Wall Street Journal, like all this great stuff that happened not because of us, but because of the awesomeness of the women in the community spreading the word about us. And that's what we're feeling is kind of happening here already. Anyway, we ran that for 10 years, had a blast, loved it, grew it, and we sold it in 2016 now to a media company based in New York.
So the last question that I have for you today, since we are a geek company, is what makes you geek? So we have like comics, movies, video games. Is there anything in general that makes you geeky?
I love a podcast. I mean, I will make up errands to do walking around New York City, so I can listen to podcasts. In the car with my family, so I have two teenage sons who are big gamers, and everybody puts me in the back seat now because I'm totally antisocial in the car. First thing I do is put my earpods in. I love it. I have a million queued up, and it's just such a joy in my life, and I totally geek out to it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Again, this is Thegamehers, and this is Get Your Geek On, and I'm Kristen.